Hey everyone, I just wanted to make a little bit of an apology for the last live stream. It was obviously pretty rough. Um, I don't know if all of you were present for this, but I have been addicted to pornography my whole life, and I think Kate gave me permission to share this is when we got together. It kind of just became something very unhealthy between the two of us, but it was there was a lot of love involved, but at the same time, just hypersexualization and now we're staying in separate beds. We're not making love. We're not sexually involved, and we're just trying to take our space and build out a healthier relationship between the two of us. And that includes me not engaging with pornography or uh, masturbation, and also not being sexually involved with Caitlin. And now I do understand that there are children now in the audience. Well, this is the point: is that still a conversation that should be had. Hopefully, it sets a better example. Is that I'm realizing I'm not bipolar, but there are a lot of ups and downs that I've had, and I believe it has a lot to do with just my brain being so abused with that chemical. And I'm really hoping that I'm not damaged for life. I'm hoping um, that I'm going to be okay, because even it's been this way for years. Is even just a couple of days without release, and I could be just really not okay. And as I got on live stream, I wasn't okay, and I'm sitting here and I have just no ambitions. And I know that experiencing that, I'd be okay again, but for how long? And so for me, it's for you guys, it's probably going to look for a little while like I'm not okay again, the way that I used to be, because but not so bad, and not with Caitlin in those ways. Just very short tempered with you guys. I'm not even short tempered with Kate. It's just at this point on YouTube, I have people telling me to go kill myself, and just a lot of that mixture. It's just short patience for me. So please be patient with me. I'm definitely going to put on hold all the other social medias. I know I keep going back and forth, but I think I'm finally ready to tackle the most difficult thing that I have in my life, the most difficult crutch, and that is pornography and masturbation. And I'm not a religious person, but those chemicals, that chemically induced euphoria over and over, has definitely wired my brain to a way that when I don't receive that high, that I am just a miserable jerk. Um, Not necessarily towards Caitlin, but to people who I'm not close with, that I don't feel comfortable with, and I need to work on that. So, um, my 2 month timeline for making the right paycheck hopefully will stay on schedule, but I might embarrass myself a lot more than I had planned during that process, because um, this is just something that's going to be very, very hard, but I don't have the luxury of stepping away from the camera. So, um, just bear with me. If you're a person that prays, pray for me. Um, I'd really appreciate your support in this time, because I'm trying really, really hard to get better. And this is going to be the biggest challenge of my whole life, and I'm facing it during the most difficult time in my life. So, I love you guys, and please forgive me. Future tense. Thanks. Hi everyone, my name is Jimmy Saroka, and welcome to the broadcast. I live stream my life and share it with anyone that is open to see it. We were able to get a week's worth of groceries, which is awesome. We don't have the groceries, get the groceries tomorrow, and I'm very, very excited for that. We also have someone who said they're going to send us a few meals, just so that we have enough until those groceries come. Uh, I don't know if you saw on Instagram, but we have been pretty much cooking our eggs in the microwave on cardboard from a Kix box, and just making do with what we have, which isn't much, but we're very, very grateful for where we're at. And we're very excited because things are finally becoming stable. I'm very excited because, taking my life in a good direction, there's just so much I have to offer. And on some level, I think it's a shame that people need to see those outside stabilities to be able to recognize the growth I've offered to people in their life this far. But at the same time, having my own self-confidence, it's finally not about other people noticing anymore. Now it's finally about just me doing what I know I can do, and possibly making a profession out of it. But, Josh's life, Kate's life, the people from my past, there's a lot of people that I've helped and, really helped increase their life. And they've told me that themselves. So it's time that I just realize my potential, my abilities, and start to utilize them in a more responsible fashion. So like I said, we have a week's worth of groceries. We do have a $10 per day super chat goal. So if you're watching on this replay, guys, this is another big thing is I'm going to start clipping these videos. Now here's the thing. I know it may seem like I'm going back and forth and that I've been going back and forth for years. Here's what I've been going back and forth with. Trusting other people about myself, trusting other people about the decisions I should make, reneging on my decisions because I don't want to lose relationships, reneging on my decisions because I believe that someone else was right about how I should do something that I'm best at. And so now I'm doubling down on how I do it because I do it best. I know how to do it. And, I do it best for me. And so you guys are going to start seeing some content rolling out that is going to be, first off, from the live streams, the best parts of the live stream. I'm going to take them and clip them down. And I've done that in the past, but it's going to have to be a consistency, at least until we build to a level where I can hire someone else to do it or, contract out for someone else to do it. And, there's certain ways that I could do it, but realistically, I like keeping things in-house. That's just how I am as a person. What I will say is, if you're watching this live or on the replay, it would be really nice if you started being more responsible with your words and didn't troll so much, because if you take a look at, I'm going to post this up on one of my stories, I am starting to get people telling me to kill myself. And Caitlin can attest to that. These comments, thank God, don't make it, they don't make it public. I guess YouTube flags them or, however they get flagged, but I do see them. And there are people saying, go hang yourself, go kill yourself, go shoot yourself, jump out your window. And these people were saying, people like this were saying those kind of things far before I made any mistakes. Like when I first got on social media, as soon as I reached super broadcaster status, as soon as I reached VIP status, and we would have like 300-400 people in a broadcast at once, people literally would just come in and be telling me to kill myself over and over every day. And although I can stomach that now and I can handle it, just realize that the behavior that you're exhibiting in the comments is promoting suicidal and homicidal behavior and assisted suicide behavior. And, although I think there's a lot of people that want to say I'm the one that's unhealthy, I think there's a lot of people that behave this way here in the comments and would like to then say, well, their hands are washed clean of any behavior of anyone else, when they don't realize that, you may not realize your mob mentality is really promoting other people to behave this way. And then, although you might not be the kind of person, and I believe that, you guys in the comments, what you're saying is your truth. You're not saying things like that. And I really appreciate that. At the same time, it's important to realize that although we're not responsible for the actions of others, when you behave that way, oftentimes it can promote other people to go ahead and behave that way. So it's just very important to kind of retract back from that and try to do a little bit better, especially being now that we do have people that are under 18 in the broadcast. When you guys are commenting negative things, these children are seeing them. And I mean, it's affecting the way that they think, it's they feel. And although I imagine you guys don't feel you're responsible for that, it is their parents' responsibility. I agree with that to a degree. But at the same time, we're all, mature enough to recognize that regardless of what their parents say, they're here on the platform. And when they find their way into my broadcast, I appreciate them being here, and I would like for them to have a safe, respectful environment. That's what in the past. I'm trying to do things a little bit better. And so with that said, you guys, if you don't like me, that's okay. But why are kids in here? Because it's YouTube. Because it's YouTube. They may not be under the age of 13, but 13 to 18 is not, I don't believe that's COPA. And so 13 to 18, it's legitimate. And because it's YouTube, that's why they're in the broadcast, because it's the internet and children are on the internet. So it's important to recognize that. Moving on from that, like I said, respectful attitudes would be appreciated as I am growing up and doing better. You might not like me, you don't have to like me, but this is, more or less adult land, and in adult land, kids do exist. Unfortunately, there are a lot of parents who, and Caitlin and I have both experienced this, parents who will talk about things that children shouldn't hear in front of children. And so I think very, very heavily that's being exploited here on the internet, and being exploited through my broadcast is a lot of adults who feel it's appropriate to, bring their baggage that we may share into the broadcast. And although I've let that happen and I've been a part of that until now, it's also because I didn't see those healthy boundaries. And as I'm taking a step back and saying, okay, now I realize that this is inappropriate. And, if there's people who have beef with me, quote unquote, or you don't like me, you're more than welcome to shoot me a DM. If you want to tell me to kill myself, then leave it in a message. But when you're saying these kind of things in the public, there are children seeing it, and they may not be your children, but if we value to see our children increase generation over generation, as opposed to decrease in intellectual value and, become those reactive animals that we're seeing nowadays in a lot of these kids, that when they come online, they're just succumb to these products, which is part of why COPA came out, to be a bit more responsible. I think all of us can do a better job, myself included. I'm including myself in this. And so I am doing a better job. I'm doing my part. I'm not saying that you have to. You can do whatever you want. It's your freedom. You do what you want with it. But I genuinely mean it when I say that, not just for the sake of convenience, I do care about what happens with the children that come to the broadcast. I've been irresponsible with that in the past because when I was a child, I didn't really see those boundaries. I really didn't understand that that separation was supposed to be there. And so, although I don't agree with necessarily sheltering children, at the same time, exposing them to psychological abuse, exposing them to psychological manipulation tactics, and just different things that, you're driving the children off of a cliff. I'm not going to be party to that. I'm not going to engage with that. And I'm definitely not going to promote it here in my broadcast. So please understand that the behavior of most of the people that are commenting right now is very destructive towards children. And if you're not in support of that, yes, it's very convenient that they would be off my back, but please realize that I'm genuinely making an effort to be respectful and to be responsible. And if that responsibility comes from a self-preservation perspective, that may not be, the best thing, right? We would all want a bit more. And I do really care. It's just, guys, I'm learning to care more, and I'm learning why I need to care more. And part of what's helping me to learn that I should care more and that I do care more is from understanding. Oftentimes we don't care as much as we should. Well, teach them well and let them lead the way. Rosie, what does that mean? Can you teach me what that means? Because I don't understand. How do I, let me think. I want to provide entertainment, but I've always had really bad examples of how to do it. So it's my responsibility to kind of feel it out and figure out how I'm going to do it. I just don't know yet. All right. So I guess it is on me. Once again, the only adult in the room. Yes, John, I'm sure they have seen worse things, but that's just an excuse to remain irresponsible. It's an absolute excuse to simply remain irresponsible. I'm the one
no longer making excuses. I'm the one that wasn't making excuses all along. All the things that I cried to you about, they weren't excuses as to why I couldn't get forward. It was a genuine belief that I couldn't get forward, and then crying out for help about what had happened to me. Still thinking that someone would care, that someone would step in. No one's going to step in. People care, but it's not their story, and it's delusional, presumptuous, and rude to put that pressure on other people, especially in the public, saying, what happened to me is your problem. And that was entitlement. And that is an entitlement that I definitely learned from the media, from certain parts of the mainstream media that I had consumed. And that's not all of media, most definitely not. But that is the portion of media that I consumed, because as things became more difficult for me, I kind of imploded. I wanted to say, okay, well, this is so difficult. No one's listening to me. I feel completely trapped. And so I turned to those forms of media, and it only made things worse for me. Moving forward, I'm making better choices on what I consume. We're sticking to high quality content. And when I say high quality content, I mean what I consume. And the content that I provide, it'll get better day over day. And I know that you guys are seeing that, and I appreciate your support in that. I will only be live here on YouTube maybe once a day, and I think it's about 5 days a week that I'll be live. And or it might be more, because my older live stream times were different, but I should be live about 5 days a week. Maybe 6 or 7. I have to take a look. But I am now back on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, YouTube. I'm here on YouTube, obviously. TikTok, everywhere. I am putting out content everywhere. And it's going to be original content, platform per platform. And it's really just sharing my life the way that average people do, that regular people do. Just sharing my life with you, just on a more mass scale, a bigger scale. Yeah, I am on Snapchat. Now, here's the thing about Snapchat. My Snapchat is personal. It may one day become professional, but as of right now, that my social media life is professional. It helps me keep a boundary there. At the same time, Snapchat is such a personal platform that I don't want it to get mixed up for people, because I think that's a big thing that happened in the beginning, is people got mixed up about the place for Snapchat. And, people tried very heavily to frame me actually for pedophilia on Snapchat. So it's a platform that I'm very careful with. And one day it may become professional, but as of right now, it is personal. My Snapchat is out there. You can find it anywhere. I'm sure there's a million people just out there shouting out about it. Just ask any one of your friends. So I imagine that you already know what my Snapchat is. But here's what I learned, guys. When people accuse you of things, if you act nervous, if you act guilty, then people are going to presume you are guilty. And the more they build out that false content, and the more that they, essentially blaspheme your name, the more that they put it out there and do their defamation campaigns and smear campaigns, people are going to believe that. And I never truly thought that the people I love or the people that I know were ignorant enough to actually believe it. But with enough time, with enough protruding, with enough attacks, and then me officially making some mistakes, I guess that was enough for them to believe lies. And so for me, I realized if I didn't hunker down, that things weren't going to move forward. And it's still difficult to move forward. And you might hear me repeating myself. Well, you better believe I'm repeating myself, because I'm doing the best I can. This is how I keep it together. You do not know what it's like to be on this side of the screen. Not like this. It's one thing if I was actually guilty. That, then I'd be whatever. I don't know how I'd be. But being innocent, it is like the most disastrous thing for me, because I'm the kind of person that does value other people's opinions, probably quite a bit more than I should. The gratitude that I have in this experience of constant false defamation is that I can move forward with the knowledge that their opinions are invalid and that I shouldn't pay attention to their opinions. So that's what I'll do. I don't have any content for you today. I mean, I do. I have questions here, but truthfully, I'm not all that interested. I have a whole lot of other work that I have to do, and I'm waiting on some food. Very excited to get that food. We're going to eat very well tonight and tomorrow. And as much as I'd like to provide content, we are very ahead of schedule for Super Chat, and I'm grateful for that. And on top of that, pretty much all of the chat right now is just, people who haven't been euthanized yet. So I'm going to step back and I'm going to let God do his work. Peace for now.